Good afternoon. Welcome back to my no-name channel, well, my first Pullman name channel. I'm Bruce, and this is another Bali COVID-19 update for April 16th, I think, let's say. Okay, this is an early one. Usually I do these updates on Sunday, Bali time, but I'm hitting the road in a few days to go down to Ubud, visit friends, and take some videos, try to do some drone stuff, and just see what's happening in Ubud. And so I'm uploading this on Friday, and today is Wednesday. And so, well, we'll take a look at the numbers on Friday. Right now, okay, let's look at the numbers for today. 121 new cases, that gives us 42,326 total, 39,333 recoveries, 1,225 deaths, and 1,768 active cases. So the active cases continue to go up. Out of the 121 new cases, 103 were local, 18 were domestic travelers, and for the regencies, Denpasar 56, Badung 24, Gianyar 15, Bululang 13, Tabanan 6, Klungkung 4, Jembrana 2, Karangasem 1, and Bangli 0. Okay, good for Bangli. And so if you take a look at the charts today, you see we're going back down again. So we're, up and down, but we're pretty much in the that zone of low 100s, low to mid 100s right now. So that's good, but we'll see what happens after Galungan and Kuningan. And of course, we've got Ramadan going on right now, and even though Mudik has been banned, how many people are actually going to do the Mudik? That will be interesting, and that's something I'll be following up here, because I can tell when people are in Mudik here, because when I walk down the street with Zoe, people go, oh, look, there's a tourist. Okay, and then somebody says, oh, that's this Pak Guru. So we'll see how that goes. So the numbers could go up after the end of the holidays for both the Hindus and the Muslims. Don't know. But let's take a look and see what's happening with the vaccines first. Doubts linger over GeNose COVID-19 Breathalyzer. So I mentioned this in the last couple of videos. The GeNose Breathalyzer created at Gajah Mada University in Jogja is getting used more and more at airports, at movies, and other public activities because it's cheap and fast. You get the results in 3 minutes. But there are doubts about its accuracy because of a lack of transparency in its development. So this test, the GeNose, is based on an AI-powered sensory system that mimics the human nose to detect volatile organic compounds that are specific to people with COVID-19. And before you take this, you need to fast for 30 to 60 minutes and not smoke. So I hadn't heard that before. And if you are fasting, if you're a Muslim and you're fasting, you need to take this within, I guess, 4 hours after you start fasting, because of some acid buildup, gastric acid, very common to people that are fasting. Lots of stomach medicine is used here. My wife uses a lot, but you can only take it at certain times, right? You can't break the fast by taking the medicine. So anyway, so the test sensitivity is claimed to be 89 to 92%, as opposed to the PCR test, which is 95 to 96%. And environmental factors can also affect this, not just your smoking or eating. So there's been no peer-reviewed publications on the trial so far, but several papers have been submitted or are in the works. The inventor of GeNose is aware of the criticisms, but he said he was under pressure to get the breathalyzer out quickly. He wasn't in a big hurry, he said, but there was some pressure to get it out quickly. At least 3 universities have been appointed to run independent validation trials, and all of these are in the early stages. They're all Indonesian universities. And several hospitals have run trials, but the results are not complete yet. And a biomedical scientist from Miyarsi University has suggested that the widespread use of GeNose be suspended until independent trials are complete, because he said that this could jeopardize the containment efforts. He also added that the use of GeNose in public transportation hubs should be integrated with PCR testing. So GeNose is really spread everywhere in Indonesia now. It's being used all over, and so there's some questions about this. What's going to happen with this? I don't know. We'll see, but at this point it's still full steam ahead with using this, apparently. And when I hear some more, I will catch you up on that. Okay, so we know that vaccines have been taking place everywhere, all over the island. Everybody's getting vaccinated. As I said in a different story, supposedly 1 million people have been vaccinated already. And so, what about protocols, social distancing, right? And wearing a mask and sanitizing and all of that. Well, the government is getting tough. As I mentioned, they're starting to deport foreigners. And this story, COVID-19 task force inspecting local markets in Bali. Okay, and I happened to see this today. I was coming home from the dentist office, and there were cops, all sorts of cops at the main market downtown Singaraja. So they're all over the island. So a special COVID-19 task force from Bali Police Department has begun operations in several local markets to enforce prevention protocols. The new unit was recently created by the police department to inspect compliance with protocols in public areas. Okay. The head of operations, Pak Firman, decided to target the local fish markets in several different locations in Denpasar because with Galungan here and Ramadan and Kuningan coming up, the markets are full. And so the operation was initiated to ensure that all prevention protocols are being implemented everywhere. But if you've been in a local market for the last few days, and I have, you know they're just packed. People are everywhere because they always are. Right before Galungan, Kuningan, when Ramadan starts, there are people out shopping, buying up things. Pak Firman noted that the operation was not meant to intimidate people, although I kind of felt intimidated when I drove past and saw like a dozen cops in the street. I was wondering what that was. I hadn't seen the story yet. But to remind and educate them to continue complying with the protocols, especially during the community-based partial lockdown in effect around Bali. He said, instead of penalizing the violators, we decided to do an educational approach in today's operation. We wanted to show the public that the police institution will always be there for them. And so he noted that the patrols are not only for the Hindus celebrating Galungan, but also for Muslims who are fasting. The police will be patrolling places of worship during Ramadan to make sure that worship activities are taking place following the proper protocols. And so it's good to see that enforcement is taking place because you can vaccinate everybody.
But if people are not continuing to follow the health protocols, the health and safety protocols, it's not going to work. Everybody is not going to get vaccinated. There's a lot of interesting information coming out about herd immunity and what that means and how that works, and that it's not this magical bullet that people think that once we hit 70%, everything is going to be okay. And so some reading up on that would be good, and when I have time, I'll put some links to some interesting articles. But as I said before, I'm kind of rushed here because I'm leaving in another 36 hours, and so I'm trying to get everything together here at the last minute before I'm taking a couple of days trip. And you notice my voice is starting to go because, well, I spent a couple of hours in the dentist chair today. Not real pleasant. Okay, and so let's go on. Next, talking about openings. Bali officials prepare quarantine facilities for international visitors. Now, last time I talked about that Bali was going to require people to quarantine. When they got here, they have to be vaccinated, and then they're going to have to get a test when they get here, and they're going to be quarantined. So, and some people have asked me about that, comments and personal messages or direct messages or whatever it's called. And yes, at this point, that is the plan. So the Bali government has started preparing a number of hotels that will be used as quarantine facilities once the borders are opened again. The vice governor said he's been speaking with immigration and health agency about appointing hotels to work as quarantine facilities for international tourists while they're waiting for swab results. And he added that the cost will be on the tourist. And there is, I saw a preliminary list of places in Sanur, Ubud, and Nusa Dua, and they ain't cheap. Look at spending minimum, I think the lowest I saw was maybe 5 million up to 25 million for packages. So you get packages that come with this that includes laundry and food and a bunch of other things. And if I can find the link, I'll put it down below. And this is just preliminary, so this has just come out. We still got some months to go. So he added that if the test is negative, then tourists will be allowed to continue on with their vacation in Bali. They can leave the hotel and go where they want. But if they test positive, they're going to be required to stay at the hotel until they test negative. So this is a gamble, right? Because somebody said, well, you know, if I had the vaccine and I test negative and then I come here, why should I have to quarantine? Because they want to make sure that you're not going to get sick since the last time you've been tested, because people that have been vaccinated have gotten coronavirus. And so they're playing it very safe. But let's say that, you know, you get vaccinated and you come here and you test positive. Boy, you're going to be stuck. So yeah, it's a risk. The vice governor said that over 1 million Bali residents have already been vaccinated. Okay, that's the only confirmation I've seen about the number so far, but with the vaccinations continuing to be rolled out everywhere around the island, I would not be surprised, because I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago I said 560,000, so 1 million wouldn't surprise me, but that still leaves us with a couple of million to get to the magic 70%. And he continued, and this was, he continued, even though all visitors are required to be vaccinated prior to departure, we still need to anticipate possible transmission from them. And it's interesting. There's two sources here. One is the Bali Sun, which is, it's got has regular updates of things. I always check the Indonesian source and read the Indonesian source that they use because it's usually some differences. And in this case, in the Indonesian one, the vice governor said that for the quarantine hotels, we don't want to say quarantine, but a place for adjustment while waiting for the test results. These are not quarantined like in a hospital, but in a hotel. And that is financed by themselves and their dependents. He also said that the plan is still under discussion. So, if you're worried, relax, santai, sabar, because who knows what's going to happen in the next few months. And additionally, the head of the Bali Tourism Board, Idibagus Agung Partha, said preparations have been made to open in June or July. So they're sticking with this date so far, even though like I said last week, it looks like there's a 2-month delay in getting all the vaccine we're supposed to. According to him, more than 100% have been vaccinated in Sanur. I'm not sure how you vaccinate more than 100% of a population. Math problem, I wouldn't checked. I usually, when I read the Indonesian articles, I run it through Google Translate first, and then I go back and I do a quick scan to make sure that Google Translate is okay. So I went back to look at this, but indeed it did say more than 100% had been vaccinated in Sanur. So, good math. Maybe it makes sense to somebody, and if so, please tell me in the comments. He said it's important to get the guests from Australia and China. And if you follow the world of tourism in Bali, you know Australia and China, two big numbers there, number 1 and number 2, always for our tourist guests. He said, we need to get those if we're going to get the numbers back to, 6.5 million international tourists before the pandemic hit. But he said Australia doesn't want to talk about it. And quote, with Australia not yet willing to open, they don't want to talk about it yet. That's how we communicate. It's really difficult. Maybe they have issues that are more important than that. And for China, there are still obstacles to overcome because they don't want to be blamed anymore, he said. And he said again, maybe there are issues that are more important to them. There are still obstacles related to people coming to Bali. And he also mentioned that China is letting people come out, but when you come back, you've got to go through a 28-day quarantine. So I don't know about that. That's the first I've heard about the 28-day quarantine. I'll ask a Chinese friend of mine next time I talk to him and see what he has to say. Okay, so right now, it looks like you're going to have to quarantine. If you come in now, you've got to do a 5-day quarantine in Jakarta, right? I think I read somewhere you can come in through Surabaya too, but most people come in through Jakarta. And so you've got to do that, so you're going to have to do that when Bali opens up. And maybe that will change by the time we get opened up. Or maybe it will change after some people have started coming in. Okay, so next. Okay, so last week I mentioned that Singapore Airlines was going to look like they were going to fly into Denpasar direct, and they've released their schedule for June 2021, and yes, beginning May 4th, they will be flying twice a week to Denpasar direct. For May and June, that's as far as the schedule goes. This is not, however, two caveats. One, this is not for everybody. This is not saying that Bali is open for visa on arrival tourism. This is for, like I said last week, people with visas already. And two, I haven't heard anything yet official from the airport that they're going to be open for international flights, although they've been preparing for it. So I'm guessing since Singapore has got this listed officially on their website, that the airport is going to open for international arrivals, which will be good news for a lot of people that want to come into Bali and don't want to go through Jakarta. So, just that update, okay? Let's take a look at what's up with foreigners. And one good thing, and one funny thing. The good thing, six foreigners deported for health protocol violations. 6 foreigners were deported due to violations of health protocols. However, the Secretary of the Bali Province COVID-19 Handling Task Force, Imade Rentan, said, aside from violating health protocols, there were other violations made at the same time during the COVID-19 pandemic. The data I received from the Law and Human Rights Ministry and Immigration states most of these are from Russia. Rentan explained that deportation is regulated in Governor's Regulation 10 of 2021 concerning the application of discipline and enforcement of health protocols as efforts to prevent and control COVID-19 in a new era of life. And according to this regulation, I've talked about before, first time is a fine and a warning, second time is deportation. So last time I had mentioned, I hadn't heard about anybody being deported, and right after that, the next morning, there was this news that 6 people had been deported, and so this has been talked about on social media a lot. The government is getting tough because they're tired of this. And during the operation to enforce these regulations, local offices in conjunction with Immigration Law and Human Rights Ministry have raided a few areas where foreigners hang out. So if you're a foreigner and you're hanging out in places where there's no social distancing, people aren't wearing masks, the government knows where you are, and apparently they're going to start going after you. So what's that mean? Wear the damn mask. Rentan noted that Pak Luhut has said Indonesia is a sovereign country and there is no one arbitrarily committing violations in our country, including Bali. And he added the foreigners are primarily in Badung and Denpasar regencies, and in Denpasar more than 133 foreigners have violated health protocols, and in Badung 168. And so I guess those are first timers. Maybe the second timers are included in here. So a warning, if you were in Bali and you were violating health protocols, there's a good chance you're going to get caught and deported. So due warning. Okay, now on to the next one. This one is just Bali gets weirder and weirder, and Indonesia. It's just bizarre. So, Russian porn star meets excited fans in Bali. The Russian porn star Eva Elfi, I love that name, Eva Elfi, is here in Bali. Apparently, she's been here for around a month. And she came across some locals, apparently while out on a stroll. And you can take a look at the picture here. And there's a video that's been uploaded on Instagram many times. And she's also mentioned this on her Instagram page. So her fans took selfies, shook her hand, some videos. Well, we're very enthusiastic to see her. Elfie's apparently a big porn star with 1.2 million followers on her Instagram account, and she's rated 4th on Pornhub's most popular porn stars this month. So we've got a real star here. And Indonesia, it seems, is the land of VPNs, kind of like China is. And because, well, if you live here, you know that most porn sites are blocked, and a lot of other stuff as well. So I don't know how all these guys are getting to see Eva Elfie. I guess they're using VPNs, but she's very popular, and so nothing else about that. So yeah, she's here, and yeah, if you happen to meet her, yeah, I guess say hi, and maybe she'll put you on her Instagram page or whatever it is of Instagram. Okay, so it's always good for a laugh. Okay, so a couple of days short, a little less things to report than usual. It's been a very, very rushed week, and I really want to get out to today. It was incredible weather. I really wish I could have got out. I was looking at the mountains from the balcony and just clear everywhere, no clouds. I wanted to get out on the bike, so I'm getting out on the bike on Saturday morning and going to Ubud. And so thanks for viewing. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for any comments or likes. And if you're here, follow the protocols. Be part of the solution, not part of the problem. And if you're not here, hang in there. It looks like better times are coming up. Okay. See you next time.